Hello and welcome to the 11th episode of the podcast. Today we got our new guest. It's Toby.
Hello.
Would you like to introduce yourself to the
Yeah, hello.
audience?
I'm Toby. I'm very excited today to be here. Very glad you invited me, and yeah. I'm looking forward to a good episode of podcast.
All right.
Great.
So do we.
That's nice.
Today's topic. What are we going to talk about, guys?
I
So
want to
Tristan
talk
wanted.
about the
Yeah.
prisoner exchange between Russia and the USA.
Yep.
Um,
I
yes.
wanted to talk about GPT. Like the new platform from OpenAI. If you're familiar with that, blowing topic in the tech industry right now.
That's a great topic.
Yep.
Lucas, what do you
Toby-
want to talk
Yeah,
about?
I'm going to talk about Tory Lanez being found guilty of shooting Megan Thee Stallion in the foot in 2020, and Gunna finally being freed, and other YSL rappers taking plea deals.
All right.
Damn,
Nice.
That's gonna be an epic hip hop segment.
For us, Toby, what do you
I'm
got for us?
I'm gonna talk about alien life and life out of our solar system and a lot of things. Um, oh fuck.
A lot of things relate to alien life.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of things related
Oh,
to
nice.
that topic.
I'm already looking forward for that.
Who wants to begin today? We have a lot of topics.
You,
Me.
Tristan, start.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah,
Great.
go ahead.
So, as everyone maybe has seen in the news, there was a prisoner exchange between the USA and Russia. And the Russian prisoner was Brittney Griner, who is a WNBA player. And the prisoner from the USA was Victor Bout, also known as the Merchant of Death and the man who makes war possible. So, as you can
Okay.
maybe see, a lot of people were outraged because they thought that the prisoner exchange was unfair and Victor Bout was a way more serious criminal than Brittney Griner, because Brittney Griner was only arrested because she had a few milligrams of THC oil, which she took with herself to the Russian Federation. Yeah, and it's very illegal there. So she was sentenced to a few years in a working camp, I think. Well, that's pretty terrible. So the USA tried to make an exchange possible. So they traded her for Victor Bout. Yeah, he's a Russian arms dealer. And he used multiple companies to smuggle arms from the Eastern Europe to Africa and the Middle East during the 1990s and the early 2000s.
Okay.
But what do you think? I personally think that the prisoner exchange is not that unfair because Victor Bout, I think, already, you know,
And there's a lot of
went
prisoner.
through a lot of his sentence. So he,
So he's not in his prime times anymore.
yeah, it's not
Oh,
that long that the USA can keep him anymore. So
Do you know
okay.
how long he had to stay in prison?
that's a great question.
Maybe
Wait, I'm gonna pull
can
up
look it up.
his Wikipedia page. Lucas, what do you think? Is it a fair exchange?
honestly, the more I think about it, I don't think it's fair at all. They should have tried to get some other American prisoner out of Russia, because I don't think that the Merchant of Death is as dangerous as a basketball player.
Yep. With THC liquid.
Yeah, I think she wouldn't do any harm to anyone, but Victor Bout doesn't sound
Oh, I have it.
like like he's a very nice person. But
Um,
how does he make war possible? Did he
he
sell
was convicted.
weapons, or
Yeah,
what
he was
did
an
he do?
arms dealer, and he
Oh.
sold weapons to Africa and the Middle East, I think. So Bout was convicted by a jury in 2012 and was sentenced to 25 years in prison. So he would have been released 2037.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh, and he's free now, or is he in Russian
I
prison?
think he's completely free now.
Yes.
Oh,
He's free.
Yeah.
He's released.
There's actually a pretty epic clip on YouTube where they actually had the prisoner swap, you know? There were two like helicopters there, I think, and it's like an epic movie scene. For real.
Well,
You said she was like sent or would have been sent to working camps. Is that like a gulag or?
yes, like his working. I don't know exactly, but it's kind of like a gulag
Mhm.
thing. It's like a working camp, and she would have was sentenced to 10 years, I think.
For
Wow.
less than a gram of hash oil.
Yes, just like THC oil,
Yeah.
and I think
Less than a
it's
gram.
very, very. I also think that the Russian government did this on purpose to kind of insult America because we was
Sure.
American and they don't like each other, as I think everybody knows.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was like a statement. So you come here with illegal substances, so no, now we send her to jail for 10 years.
So
So
you're saying they tried to make an example of her?
yes, an example.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Right.
I think for less than a gram, it's amazing how they can, convict her of 10 years. Also, it was for medical use only, and she was prescribed it. So
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
it was prescribed to. That's a bummer.
yeah, the whole thing is a big bummer, you know.
Mm.
It's not a positive thing.
Tristan, are you finished or should we like?
No,
did
you
have
can take it away.
Okay.
What do you want to
Okay.
talk about?
Okay, I'm going to talk about GPT, and it's a whole huge. It's a huge topic, so I wrote down 2 pages. So I have to like figure out how to start with all that.
Damn.
So how about like we start with what is GPT? What's the acronym? It's a generative pre-trained transformer. So
Huh?
I don't think you are familiar what that is. So going to dive deeper into that. Basically, ChatGPT is developed by OpenAI.com. Okay, and it's like an interactive chat platform where you can ask questions or mainly ask questions for problem solving, but also like what is the meaning of life, and it returns to 42. No, but in that sense, it uses NLP, which is short for natural language processing, which takes your sentence that you put into the program and splits it up at first, so into individual words. Okay, and all like commas and dots and like question marks and shit like that gets like sorted out. Okay, and it's all transformed into lowercase, so the computer can like use the data better in that way. Then we have some other uh, steps on the process, like stemming or tagging, or yeah. So first we start with segmentation. So the and stop words. So some words are like cut out immediately because they don't have meaning to them in that sense. So the computer does not value like
Also, it kind of
over
summarizes the text.
yeah, it summarizes the
Oh,
text
okay.
and like doesn't use those words like I don't know vary or like exaggerations that are not beneficial for the information.
Okay.
Then word stemming is like you take something like walking to and transform it to walk because that's easier to understand. And like am or I, if you have the sentence I am, it is transformed to be in the form to be in like the stem form. Okay. So then it tags the words into verbs, nouns, and that shit. And yeah, then named recognition is like if you use something like Elon Musk, it searches it up or in the database that it got because it's pre-trained. There's a fixed data set to it, and it looks it up if it has something in the database that corresponds to
Is it
Elon Musk.
trained on like the internet in general, or what's the data
Um,
set?
so the data set is on human-like information, so human-generated text, such as books, articles, and websites.
Oh damn.
It's like a very huge database, and yeah, the process of pre-training is really interesting because to each answer it could give, it has like a value to it, how good it fits the optimal answer to it. So it treats it like a dog in some sense, because if it gives a bad answer, you get like minus points, and that's how all these deep neural networks work. Like they give a reward for each good answer and like train it that way.
What can you do with it? Like, is it advanced? Is it, can it write articles, for example? Because
Yeah,
I've
sure.
read that it can like, and that game journalists are fearing that their job might be taken away by this
Mm-hmm.
technology.
But isn't its
It's
opinion based on the opinions of journalists?
yeah,
Yeah.
but
So
So
it
it,
you
like
kind of
can base
it
a new
rearranges the information.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
it can't make it can't review a game that no one has reviewed ever, right?
True.
I don't think
Yeah.
so, yeah, but it can like write reviews about, I don't know, some really popular games, Legend of Zelda, for example, and you can put in a prompt that says, write an article about how the Legend of Zelda is racist, for example, and it would print out a perfectly good article. Why
Yep.
Zelda is
That's amazing.
racist?
Very good example of that, Tristan.
Right now, I've just tried it out. I logged in, signed up, and like asked Open AI would who's the best rapper, and it actually gave a very intriguing answer. It
What
said
does it
it's
spit out?
just, it said this is a subjective question, and opinions on the best rapper vary widely. Some popular choices among hip hop fans include artists such as Jay-Z, Kendrick Lamar, Nas, and the Notorious B.I.G. However, personal preferences for music are highly individual, and what one person considers to be the best rapper may be different from what another person thinks. It's important to remember that there are many talented and successful rappers, and what makes someone the best in quotation marks is a matter of personal interpretation. Like this answer is it's incredible.
Yep, it is.
It
And
it
also, it's grammatically correct in
yes
every
it's
sense. It doesn't make any mistakes. So, today I plugged in my English text, which I didn't write until now, and it like it wrote me a text, okay? And I was like, okay, this has to be like plagiared or like detected by an AI scanner. I ran it through both, okay, and it didn't find anything. Like it was like 5% plagiate and I don't know 20% AI or something like that.
You used your text you already wrote, and
No,
oh,
I didn't even write it yet. So
oh, you just
I just plugged it in. Like the what do we got? What do you got here? You have read the following post about common stereotypes of engineers and engineering.
oh,
And
so
blah,
just
blah, blah.
you just told it to write
Yeah,
a
my
report on
essay
the
write
topic.
about 250 words, and it wrote 250 words.
No, stop. No.
okay, that's sick.
It
And
is.
is the text good?
It
Or
is.
okay,
I can't say anything against it because it has its own opinion on that.
we can make a
We can AI
comparison.
generate a podcast episode.
Uh,
Write
Let's
an
ask it what is a
write a podcast
podcast.
episode.
Oh, I like that. I like that. So moving on, where did we cut off? Like training a dog, right? Something like that. And um, I'm not going in deep into that because I just realized that all these informations I spit out are like not really beneficial for the understanding for the viewer. So I'll just give an example on how it works in real life. Like take riding a bicycle. Okay, you don't learn how to ride a bicycle by seeing someone riding a bicycle. So if you fall off the bike, you know you made a mistake. Okay, so it gives you kind of minus points because you're like
Or you fell off the bike. Now you have
yeah,
minus
you fell
points.
off the bike, and your reward is like dopamine for like riding fast or something like adrenaline. Or it feels good because you can ride it. Okay, and in that sense, GPT yeah uses this approach. Just right rather any neural network. Yeah, that's amazing. I think.
Yeah,
And
also the things that it produces are really high quality, like way
mhm.
better than I imagined it to be.
and it's in the name. It's generative pre-trained transformer. So generative means it like takes information from the database and creates something completely new. So yeah, it's indistinguishable to other texts. Tries to give you a different answer every time you ask it, and I think that's amazing. Yeah. Also, it's like a dilemma with all these GANs. Like, do you know what a Tristan probably knows what a GAN is? It's like a neural network that you that associates information with other information, and yeah, it creates its own uh, understanding or like its own interpretation of those correlations of information. So that was really smooth. Just kidding. Um, yeah, and it's like creating art. Do you know
Yeah,
this
yeah.
guy who created art and
Um,
like won with
won
it?
an art contest. Yeah, artists are like outraged about this AI thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people actually fearing for that job because the AI can just do it so much better, like journalism. I mean, there's still a lot of creativity when it comes to journalism about like current day events or news and stuff, but about things that already happened and they AI trained on it,
Yep.
like everything is obsolete almost.
Like everything in school.
Yeah, the AI can write a book about something that already happened, you know.
Yep. So,
It's wild.
uh, it's
It
it's
can also like,
I think it's amazing though.
yeah, it can
Um,
solve like coding questions. It can do a lot of stuff.
I wanted to talk about that right now about programmers and like fearing their job, and I think to some
I think
point
it's
of degree,
great
yeah.
because coding is just miserable.
Let me get to my point, okay?
Miserable.
Miserable. It's like trying in desperation different solutions and none work, and
I think
somehow
it's
like your crappy code works somehow, and you're like, oh my god.
I
Okay.
think it's kind of funny how the one person who has the most involvement in programming is the one who hates it the most. Or who speaks the
No,
worst about it.
yeah,
So
Alex can program way better than I can.
sure. Just
No,
kidding.
Alex is actually qualified to talk about this, you know.
And
Like in
what I
a
wanted to say, I saw a video from I'm not sure which YouTuber it was. Um, and he talked about how should we fear GPT like replacing or like AI replacing programmers, and not really, because programs and codes have to be supervised in that way, because if it could result in bugs and errors and stuff, and yep, I don't think it's a threat to programmers in that way. It produces really good things, like you can say to it code a linked list in C, and uh, it produces a perfect example. I don't know if it's copied from Stack Overflow or something like that, but
probably.
it's still very good. And I prompted it to write a Discord bot which downloads and streams music, and it's like the same code I wrote. It's so funny. Yeah.
It actually trained on your code. It just stole it.
Sure on GitHub. It's all
Yeah.
there. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
And
it's
the
exciting.
way it learns is also really interesting because you plug in all these informations
Also,
and
this technology is pretty new, so
it
there's a lot of improvement to
transformation.
be made.
Yeah. So transformers are pretty new to the topic. I think it was like introduced in the paper in 2017. So transformers are fairly new to the industry, and OpenAI like took this approach. So a transformer exists of an encoder and decoder. The encoder was like all those steps to take the information in, which I described earlier with like stemming and tagging. And the decoder is like it's like you trying to figure out what is going on in the math lesson. so it's like it's sitting there
Yeah.
confused and tries to associate things with others and spit something useful out. So if you say what's a car, it says something like it's a vehicle with 4 wheels or something like that. And it does that over and over again until it like reaches the point where it's good enough for solving other questions. Yeah.
So it retranslates the sentence it
Mhm.
already translates, or is it correct?
It tries to understand
Yeah.
the sentence.
It tries to explain the car and then explain the explanation of the car.
Yep. It's
Okay.
like an iterative process, and it uses the information given from the database, which it got from books, articles, and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's amazing. I also tried something out, like write something for my diploma.
Nice
And
diploma thesis.
diploma thesis, yeah. What diploma isn't it the same? Or is
Diploma
diploma
thesis?
like the
More when you get a diploma, it's sort of a certificate at the end.
Yeah, I
Whereas
think the
thesis
diploma
is
is
what you're trying
the
to
actual
say.
paper.
okay, sorry, diploma thesis, and it wrote about like breaks in and the importance in like traffic and stuff, and it's really cool. So I think I will use this tool. I won't copy it in that sense, but I will take some inspiration from it. Yeah, I think it's a really cool innovation, and AI seems pretty scary to me right now. Yeah.
If we're
So
talking
Yeah,
about
let's get to the
AI,
next topic.
I want to
do
say
you-
one last thing about this OpenAI chatbot.
yeah.
I've just realized its knowledge is it's limited though, because it can't actually browse the net, and it
Yeah.
has a fixated cutoff date of
Yeah.
2021.
Mhm.
So
But
I
it
just
will
asked
like
it.
expand that in next
Yeah,
year,
because
something like
I
that.
did something where I asked if Yay is considered anti-Semitic, and actually he has made some anti-Semitic statements in
Oh man.
2018. He made a series of tweets that included anti-Semitic slurs and conspiracy theories. In 2019, he apparently released an album cover that featured a Confederate flag superimposed over a photo of the late singer and songwriter Slick Rick, who was seen by some as an act of disrespect toward African Americans.
We have a Kanye
Okay.
update every episode. It's amazing.
But here it says he has apologized for some of his action statements, and he has claimed that he's not anti-Semitic.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
That would have been the good
apparently he
ending.
has made controversial statements about Jews since 2018.
Oh.
But yeah, apparently here it's gotten a lot worse, and I think you could definitely consider him anti-Semitic now. I don't think it's really even up for discussion anymore.
Leave Kanye alone.
And I asked also chat, but if he's still partnered with Adidas, and it said yes.
Yeah, it's a limited time frame. That
Guys,
Mom is showing
before
on.
we move on, do you have any questions? I'm open to answer them.
Well, you talked so much, and it's so I don't know anything about the topic, and
I'm
I'm
sorry.
still processing everything you said.
I-
So for now, maybe later.
Okay.
But I got a basic understanding, I
okay.
think.
I tried to wrap it up in like 5 minutes, but I think it's not enough time for that. And also, I think my explanation isn't that good. So let's move on. Lucas, what do you
Let's
want to
move
talk
on.
about? About Tory Lanes?
Tory
prison?
Lanes.
Tory Lanes.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Toby,
Let's
you
get
also know
moving.
him, right? I have never heard of Toby Laneson.
Tory Lanes?
Tory
You
Lanes?
just said Toby Lanes.
Lanes.
You did just say
Yeah, I have never heard of him.
He's
Okay,
a Canadian.
Tory Lanes. He's a Canadian rapper who lives in the US. And he has been on a steady rise, but ever since 2020 he's been sort of blackballed because he was accused of shooting Megan Thee Stallion in the foot.
Damn, what? Why did he do that?
Yeah, let me explain the situation.
That's so random.
As far as I know, he had something going on with Megan Thee Stallion and her friend called Kelsey, as far as I know. So it was sort of a three-way relationship, and they were partying at Kylie Jenner's pool party in 2020, and afterwards there was something going on, and Megan didn't want to come with them, and then she said that apparently Tory Lanez took a gun and shot at her feet, and then shouted "Dance, bitch."
Ouch. Just like in the
Yeah.
Wild West.
Yeah,
Shit.
then she actually got in the car, and they were stopped by police, and she told them, yeah, she has glass shards in her foot, and then she was brought to the hospital and treated, and afterwards she came out and said that she had bullet fragments in her foot, which had to be surgically removed, not glass shards, and accused Tory Lanez of being the shooter, and that has been going on for 2 years, and now he was actually convicted, and well, he was found guilty. That's what happened. He
But
hasn't been convicted to any time in prison yet, but it could lead up to 22 years.
22 years.
yes, it's in America. There are the pretty strict laws.
And he might
Thank-
be sent back to Canada.
But
Oh,
but
okay.
didn't he paid a caution to be free? Not in
You mean he paid bail?
yes, bail.
Probably, but you mean that he paid bail now?
No, maybe no, not now, but earlier on when it all was new and he was like in a prison to keep him from
I think
leaving the
if
country or
you
something like that.
serve a few years, then you can, I think, appeal
Yeah, you
or
can appeal the
something.
bond, and you can
Yeah, and then you
get
can
out
maybe
for a
get
certain
out
sum of
sooner.
money. There was once a dude who was in prison for a $1 bond, and he didn't know, and he stayed there for like 2 years.
Oh, bruh, what?
Yeah, but going back to Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion situation, I mean, I think people have already heard that like some people were on Megan's side, some people were on Tory Lanez's side.
So it's not exactly sure.
Yeah, for example,
happened?
Drake said in one of his songs that he kind of hinted at Megan Thee Stallion lying about getting shot, but for example, I think like there are some other prominent figures who are on Megan's side. I think Adele sides with her. Well, mostly it's mostly women and mostly men who are on Tory Lane's side, sort of like that. But all in all, I think it's a very toxic situation. How they were like in a love relationship, sort of, and then it escalated to this.
Yeah, I mean, American rappers are wild in general, so I was not even that surprised that he shot her in the foot.
Yeah, I mean, Tory Lane's father actually said in court that after he was convicted and put into handcuffs, that like he shouted like, "You know what you did? You're a liar. And this justice system is wicked."
Hmm.
And as far as I know, Tory Lanez didn't have like a real reaction. He kind of sat there in silence and was taken away. Yeah, that's it with my story about Tory Lanez.
Okay.
And just a quick excursion to the YSL case currently. There have been a lot of YSL members taking plea deals. One of them is Gunna, who is finally free now. And all the time that he would have to spend in jail, it is some of it is 1 year served,
Mhm.
and 4 other years will converted to like community service, and I think and probably like that he has to pay some money. And then there are some other rappers like Young Thug's brother also took a plea deal. As
Okay.
far as I know, none of those plea deals incriminate Young Thug any further, but it's getting kind of close. It's getting difficult for Young Thug because Young Thug is the person that they actually want. Like the rest is just a bonus.
Yeah.
Young Thug is the one that they want to go behind bars.
Okay. Well, we have one topic left.
Yeah,
Yes.
Toby.
I brought a topic like alien life. Everyone knows those conspiracy theories where they saw UFOs or something like that.
I
But
think extraterrestrial life exists.
do you think that
Yes.
was
It would be naive not to.
you? I wanted to ask you this question. Do you think that other life in the universe exists?
The universe is so
I do think so.
large.
Yeah, I think it
so,
has to exist.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it would be like really sad if
Yeah.
we are the only ones.
No, it's actually a very hard topic. It's very difficult to say if it's good or bad if there is other life. Are you familiar to the Fermi paradoxon?
Yeah.
Maybe?
And the great filter.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Well, the Fermi paradoxon says the universe is so big and there are so many planets who are right perfect or very similar to Earth. Like I think in the observable, I think in the Milky Way alone, there are like 1 million planets in like their Earth-like.
Yeah.
And we don't see anything about other creatures. So the Fermi paradoxon says there are so many planets, but we don't see any other alien life. And this is the big question and the question there is no solution on.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah,
Because
there are,
it's so big that we have to have heard of some aliens by now.
yes,
But we haven't. So
but maybe it's there's also a theory that there are big filters when life, an intelligent life, moves on and want to grow, there have to pass filters. At first, it was maybe the filter is getting from one cellular life to then a complex life like fish in the sea, and then coming out of the water.
yeah.
And
So
also the whole evolution.
yeah, there's a
And
lot of
now,
steps evolution has to take
yes,
to reach that point of intelligent life.
yes,
So if the process fails at one point, then intelligent life
yes.
doesn't evolve as a whole on the whole planet. So
The whole life is just cannot exist anymore. And there are two possible things that could be. The filter is we already passed the filter, the big filter, or we will have to pass it.
yeah,
And I think it's the better option is that we already passed the filter, because then it would mean that maybe we're the first one or really the only ones living in the universe.
Hmm.
And I think actually that one is kinda maybe I like that theory more because then it's like our task to secure life and to spread around the universe too, that there is just if our planet dies, then there is no more life. Or
Mhm.
like, what sense would it make
Oh
for the universe
damn! So the
to
big
exist anymore?
so the
Yeah.
big task for humanity is to
Yes.
survive
So
Um,
and
Toby,
spread around.
so do you consider what do you consider as filters? Like other civilizations? Do you consider it like climate change or
it could
what?
be a lot of
Yeah,
things like
climate change could be a filter.
climate change is like one filter could be that if um, population is evolving so fast and using the resources from the planet and harvesting the energy, then it automatically says that the race cannot survive. That
Mhm.
would be very bad because it means that we are sentenced to death.
Yeah,
Like,
it's scary because it
yes,
means
it's
that we're like a short distance from a great filter.
yes, yes, and it's one filter could also be like a very obvious invention, like AI, like nuclear bombs
Mhm.
or something like that, or something we don't even know yet. We cannot think about it,
Yeah.
but a technology which is so obvious that every intelligent population at one point discovers it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That, so that's like a natural blockade,
Yeah,
or like
that you can pass.
yes,
Um.
this is very. I don't think that this is best
Um.
out. This-
I think take it that way. It's like an AI. Okay. So life tries to evolve and surpass like the blockades, and those who succeed in that will evolve. It's like evolution. Okay. So um I think for us, it could be like uh, bombing ourselves with atomic bombs and like extinguishing our whole race in that way. So I think it could be that every race has to fight the urge to eliminate itself. Do you know
Yes,
what I mean? So I think that's an interesting thought because every other planet in the universe faces the same problems. And perhaps every planet or every species is doomed to destroy itself.
That's just
yes.
depressing.
That would be
Maybe,
very depressing.
maybe it's also not a good idea to look for um, life outside of the
Mhm.
solar system or even on the Mars, because what does it mean when we find uh, micro like bacteria on Mars?
Yeah, that
It
the
means
filter is ahead of us.
um, maybe yes, well, because
True, true.
if life exists on Mars, the next planet to Earth, then it's very the chances are very high that it exists also on a lot of other planets.
Mhm.
You know, and that there is no just bacteria is very it's not then that would have been that we already passed the filter. It is a possibility, but it also could mean that there are dozens of planets where civilizations have rose, and they all faded because of the big filter.
Mhm.
But it's I also think it's maybe not the best idea to look for other intelligent life, because what would we do if we find some?
They
Think
would
about it.
destroy us or like put us into slavery.
Maybe
Maybe,
we can
but
communicate and exchange
but
technology.
but how would you communicate? Imagine the most intelligent, for example, like the most intelligent alligator.
Yeah.
You still can't communicate with
Yeah,
him
but the most
because
intelligent alligator is not even remotely close to human intelligence. So
Yeah, and that's the
if
same
True.
with us, with
if-
other intelligence.
yeah, but maybe we're okay. If we were on the same level intelligence wise, then I think we could manage to communicate. There are a lot of different ways to communicate with alien life. For example, they to reach this point in making technology, they have to use math of some kind, and math is very fundamental. So we could maybe try to communicate with math.
do you know that math is
Math.
fundamental? And
with
do
math.
you know that the math we use is universal to in all of the universe? It's the math is everywhere the same, and every civilization uses the
No,
same math.
I think we have different interpretations of math, but
Yes,
Fractals is a big thing.
Berit Schenk is a great thing.
that was an insider because we have learned a lot about fractals in our
But they are important. Fractals
education.
are everywhere.
Yeah, but you
and
just
with
can't.
fractals
You
can
just can't.
create shapes that you cannot
You
create.
can't
with
just. You can't
normal
just
math.
throw out insiders.
It's
in a
not an
podcast.
We
insider.
can.
It's a huge part of mathematics that was not acknowledged for years. Now is. I
But
think
it's only funny to us. If someone else listens to the podcast now,
it
they're
was
very
supposed
confused.
to be. It was supposed to be intellectual.
Bro.
Tristan, you just tried to turn something that was supposed to be intellectual input into something wonky and funny, which it wasn't. There's nothing fun about fractals.
Yeah, but
Well,
Alex
talking about
laughed.
fractals right now, I just ate Romanesco.
Oh,
What?
Do you know Romanesco?
No.
It's like broccoli, but like in fractal form.
Okay.
Oh my God, Tristan, you have to put it on the thumbnail. Romanesco is on the thumbnail right now. Okay.
Okay.
I send you a picture.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Well, we already talked for 42 minutes.
Yeah, and let's go on. I think Toby
Yeah,
has
I
to say
think-
some more, right?
I just wanted to add one more thought. If we meet another civilization in the next like 1 million years,
Mhm.
I think that the other civilization would be way ahead of us, because if you put it into perspective, Earth just exists for like 4 billion years. This is just like a quarter of the whole universe, and we as humans, like 500 years ago, we thought the Earth is the middle of the whole universe, and
Mm.
50 years ago, we had a huge nuclear conflict with America and Russia, and we were very close to eliminate ourselves. So I think the human race is very at the beginning of the intelligence, the evolution. Even though
Yeah.
we, as ourselves, we see ourselves as very high, but we
That's a good
actually are.
point.
It's like,
yeah, that makes sense.
and I think if another species is coming to our solar system, they at first they wouldn't even recognize us. They would just see us as like we see ants or squirrels or something like that. And I
Mm.
made up, for my opinion, a pretty good example how it would be. Like on Earth, the humans harvest forests, they cut down the trees to use the resources. And they
Mhm.
see, for example, a squirrel, and don't want to harm the squirrel, but want to harvest the home of the squirrel. You know what I mean?
Mm.
We say, yeah, the squirrel is nice, but I need that wood, so I just take the wood and leave the squirrel behind. And I think if an alien population civilization would come to Earth,
Mhm.
it would be pretty much the same. They say, oh, there's a civilization, they already built some cities. Okay, now we're using the sun to create energy. And now, so we don't have any sun and just die.
Oh,
Oh,
no, that's actually a
I
great
think that's an
example.
amazing example. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
put it very well into perspective.
That's also pretty depressing, but a very good example.
So I think for us, the only thing we can do is just to think about what and to observe the universe. If we see some other kind of civilization or trails of life on other planets, and just to observe and to look for ourselves that we pass the filter.
Mm.
I think that's
Yeah.
the
But now, just going off topic now, put it into perspective. Like the aliens take away our sun, okay, and we all die, okay, and then there the aliens are like demonstrating for Earth. Oh my God, you like to made genocide or something like that. Stop the genocide on Earth, and they are like, yeah, you know what I mean.
yeah, maybe it would be like that.
I think that's an amazing thought experiment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to do the outro?
Yeah, go ahead, Tristan, do it.
Okay.
Or do I want to do the outro?
Why
Go.
are you asking? Why are you asking? Just do it.
Do you want to do it? Let's go.
Yeah,
No.
I'll do the outro.
Oh.
I'll do it. Thank you for listening to the 11th episode of the podcast. Make sure to tune in next week again. We appreciate you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe and comment.
Yeah. Also, thank you, Toby, for being with us on this episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you
very
very
much.
much.
That's great.
We
It was an honor for
appreciate
me.
your presence a lot.
Yeah.
I love this guest.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.